Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general mid-month reading for the sign of Sagittarius, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the last 2 weeks of August. I hope you are well. I'm using the Pagan Otherworlds deck for you today. If you haven't seen these readings before, I structure them differently to the main monthly readings, in so much as we are looking for the lesson. I think that there is wisdom, or indeed a lesson, contained within every interaction and experience that we have if we are open to it and if we can see it, and often we cannot see it because we get bogged down with other stuff. So this is, if you will, an exercise in perspective. I find it easier to navigate challenging energy if I can work out why I'm in it in the first place. So to that end, what I'm going to do is pull 3 cards for your current energy and see where you are right now, and from there we will pull 3 cards and have a look and see why you are there. Like, is it trying to teach you something about yourself? Is it trying to show you something that needs to be released? Is it trying to clear the way for something new to come in? Well, we won't know until the cards hit the table, but you get the point. And from there we'll go 2-3 cards of advice. Now, I just want to get one thing out of the way before we start. It's been brought to my attention that there is at least one person, if not multiple, impersonating me on Instagram. They were using the same username as mine, except with 3 underscores in it instead of 2, and sliding into people's DMs and offering them messages from the universe for a fee. Obviously, this is not me. Like, it is not me, full stop. It is not the way that I work. It is not the way I have ever worked, and I will never work that way. I will not skid into people's DMs and tout for business like that. I'm not taking personal readings at the moment because I'm exhausted and I just can't. I don't have the energy for it. And when I do, it'll all go through the Acuity scheduler as it always has done, and there will be announcements on YouTube, there will be announcements on Patreon, even on Instagram as well. Please only follow the social media accounts that are listed in there, and I think actually it's only Instagram because that's the only one I really use. So if you find that I'm suddenly appearing on Facebook, it's not me, because I will never grace that platform with with my presence again. I closed down my account at the beginning of January and that's it, I'm done. Yes, I would hate for anybody to fall for this, so don't do it. And the tarot community is absolutely riddled with it at the moment. I know Chris from Minnow has been having some problems, and I know a lot of readers on Instagram generally have been having this issue because I've been seeing it coming up. So yes, if you're in any doubt at all, use one of the methods of contacting me down below in the description box and I will set you straight. So with all of that grubby business out of the way, let's see where Sagittarius is right now, please. We have the Knight of Swords. We have the 2 of Wands. Why? That I said 1. What? That's taking the piss. I'm going to take them anyway, but it's taking the piss. We have Strength. We have the 7 of Cups, and we have the Wheel of Fortune. We have the 7 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck as well. Now, Saggy, there's something energetically going on with you at the moment which is highly powerful. And I don't know if it has its origins in the opening of the Lion's Gate or whether it was this new moon in Leo, I don't know. But there's something really big going on with you at the moment, and it's all deeply internal. I feel a lot of you taking your eye off 3D concerns quite hard at the moment, and almost because what's going on inside of you is taking all of your spoons up at the moment, right? There's been, this kind of energy has been touching all of the signs that I've seen. There have been a few exceptions, but Scorpio, Leo and Aquarius specifically have been really dealing with this for a number of months now, but it's also coming in and touching Gemini. There was another sign as well. Ooh, Aries. And I don't think that you're immune from it either. So we have this Knight of Swords, which is Gemini energy, and so it speaks to me about the transmission of information. And the interesting thing is, although you may have, or you may not, somebody to speak to about what you are undergoing at the moment, the primary transmission seems to be between your subconscious and your conscious mind at the moment. Because I see this Knight of Swords, beg your pardon, you know, not your Knight, you would expect to see the Knight of Wands if it was you. Really moving fast, but you can't see where he's going. And it feels to me like there's a lot coming up for you. There's a Chariot. In terms of your identity, in terms of who you actually are and what you actually think. Four of Wands. And this notion of home for you. We've got the Devil at the bottom of the deck here, and I don't think there's any coincidence in that. Because... oh, how glorious. I'd never noticed that before. At the foot of the Devil is a heart right there, right? And it's like bringing to your attention the way in which your heart has been bound and constricted for a long time. Now, obviously, the energy of the Devil is all about fear, right? So the way that you have bound yourself up and you've restricted yourself was to protect yourself out of fear. But I feel like there are all sorts of walls that are falling over in your head, and you're just kind of charging around going, oh, what is all of this information? How do I get on top of this? How do I process it? And a lot of it is to do with home and what home means to you, Sagittarius, because I think it's very different to what it means to the rest of the other signs, principally because a lot of you have never known what it is to feel like you have a home. Now, some of you may be a bit older and you may have had children of your own, and actually you may be starting to get a sense of that when you see your own children's existence and you kind of map it onto your early childhood, and you're like, whew, this is a different kettle of fish altogether. And sometimes that can set off this tension. There's a tension here for you, but it is all revolving around your identity, yourself, and how it fits into a dynamic of home. Whether that is four walls, it's the people within it, you know, your early home life compared to the home life that you have now, or maybe the home life that you pulled yourself out of at the beginning of 2020, because we know that was kind of a big time for Sagittarius there. But the Knight of Swords is going this way and the Chariot's going this way, and it feels like kind of chaotic, Sag, if I'm honest. The card underneath that we've got is the Ace of Pentacles, with the Strength card underneath that too. It's a card of Leo, but I'm struck by just how similar the positions of these two characters are here. And in the Devil, we've got somebody who is trussed up, like absolutely bound rigid, right? Trying to protect their heart, balancing on the top of their heart there. And it's like any kind of movement in any way, any direction whatsoever is going to send them toppling off that heart. In this Ace of Pentacles, as this is, take a look at that card there. We've got somebody who is grounding themselves. We've got somebody who is rooting themselves literally into the earth. And instead of binding themselves up, they're becoming a trunk to support something much bigger than themselves, right? And we see that the Ace of Pentacles contains the infinite potential of that suit. And so from the Ace, you can extrapolate that there is a Ten of Pentacles in there too. Commitment. Longevity. Something sustained and abundant. And it's possible to consider that from a distance these two things look the same, but when you get close up to them, and I feel like you're getting close up to them, Sagittarius, they are very different animals. And so part of the charging about is like, oh, it's just like you screaming fuck. And kind of hurrying from one thing to another as these things are starting to show themselves inside your head. But as these walls are falling down and you're starting to see things differently, you know, go, oh, wow, I totally thought I was this, but actually I'm this. It's like, what the fuck do I do about that? What do I do? And here you are at a crossroads, right? That crossroads energy, but it's number 2. And that for me is the most important part of this card, because it does indicate in some way a crossroads, an internal crossroads. Now, I don't think there's any coincidence to the fact that the Strength card has shown up twice for you here in this reading, but look at the cards that are behind it. We've got the Star and we've got the Queen of Wands as well. This Queen of Wands is Aries energy. It's your sister fire sign, but it could also be you. And queens are naturally receptive. And like, how receptive are you, Sagittarius? When you get the things that you want, how much do you actually enjoy them? And how much does your brain start to engage with self-sabotage? Where do you look for the exit? Because ultimately, at some point, that's going to happen, isn't it? You know, you're going to get rejected, as always. And you need to think about the way that you're balanced on top of this heart. We've got the Fool and the Seven of Pentacles. And the Seven of Pentacles is underneath here too. And interestingly enough, look, it's there with the Four of Wands. Seven of Pentacles is about those situations that are in some way unsatisfactory, you know? And it's like, do I invest more or do I pull away? Now, your natural inclination is always to pull away from things, right? That's where the self-sabotage shows itself quite often. And in the past, where you have not pulled away from something where intuitively and instinctively you might have done, what's happened is you've ended up in a situation where you've just instead lent on your resilience rather than a true engaging with whatever situation you've committed yourself to. It's almost like, well, shit, this is my life now. I'm just going to do this for the, you know, till the end of time. And where you are right now is requiring, as a case of necessity, a different way of looking at this, because you are in such a different place now to every other time in your life where you have been called to commit to something. Because ultimately, if you really dig around, those feelings of commitment that you've had in the past, being kind of grudgingly given. You're like, well, I don't really have a choice, I have to do this. And that's where the feeling of being trapped is. But where you are right now is a very different thing altogether. And I think part of the concern is that perhaps you are being foolish. Perhaps you are being naive and too trusting. But nevertheless, you want to take that step. You just don't really know how to do it. And the interesting thing is that there's so much growth that is going on for you at the moment, but it's all confusing as shit. Right? That's the only way that I can put it. It's totally confusing. We've got the Strength card there, which is the card of Leo, but it is a card of spiritual growth. It is about becoming a bigger, more empowered version of yourself. It's owning all the bits of you and growing, expanding in that. But right in between that and the lesson that you are to learn in order to facilitate that growth is this big fuck off fucking Seven of Cups there. It's just confused as shit. Tell me about the Strength and the Seven of Cups. Hello. Two of Pentacles in the reverse. Nine of Pentacles. What's this one that flew down here? Five of Pentacles in the reverse. You're muddling through, Sagittarius. You're getting there, but fuck, it's taking a lot of mental effort. There you are at the bottom of the deck as the Knight of Wands. With the Wheel of Fortune directly behind that, it feels like what is going on with you at the moment feels so very important. And you can't quite work out why. And you can't quite work out what you need to do differently. And yet, you're still stuck here in this energy. You're not stuck. That's the thing, you're not stuck, Sag. But it's going to take a bit of time for you to be able to work out what this all means for you. Like for some of you, this is doing relationships very, very differently to the way that you've done them in the past. I'm looking at this Two of Pentacles here, and unlike every other Two of Pentacles that I have, we've got two people here with a pentacle apiece. You know, maybe the other ways in which you have been you have been committed, where you've tried to plant a seed in the past, those times where you actually kind of felt like you were cornered into it. You look back now and you see that those were codependent relationships. Like there was a huge codependency there, and that will kind of make you feel sick to your stomach, because you don't want to be codependent on anything. You certainly don't want anybody to be codependent on you, and yet it kind of happened by stealth. And now where you find yourself in this Nine of Pentacles, where you are taking charge of yourself and your own energetic resources and putting them all in the right place for you, tending to your own garden first. But maybe there's a bit of difficulty with the fact that the people that are around you are also doing the same. Like we've got two people juggling two pentacles there. They've got one apiece. And they're kind of back to back, which is a position of great trust, you know. You've got to rely on the other person pulling their weight and doing what they say that they're going to do. And they're relying on you to do the same. But the whole thing feels like it's super confusing to you. We've got this Five of Pentacles in reverse, which is really, really good, because it says to me that you understand now that there are many, many ways in which you have not been meeting your own basic needs for decades, probably. And now you're trying to fix that. You're trying to do everything correctly. But there's a whole emotional tsunami that seems to have dropped right onto the top of you. And there's a lot of just like, Tell me why Sagittarius is here. Got the Hanged Man. We have the Six of Wands. Whatever that is. And the Sun. There's that Leo energy again. All right. We've got the Emperor at the bottom of the deck. And it's followed by the Tower. And the Tower is a course correction, right? Yes, it is sudden, shocking energy. Sometimes it's, you know, big dramatic things happening in the 3D, but it is also a course correction. And that is what is going on with you here. It is turning you into an emperor. Okay? Oh, we've spoken before about how Sagittarius has actually thought that they were shit at all sorts of things. But latterly looking back, you see now that it was because you were never given an opportunity to exercise that control over that bit of your life. You know, it was almost like, for a lot of you, you were in relationships with Virgos of any description, whether it was, you know, romantic relationships, a spousal relationship, or, you know, business partners or whatever like that. And there was an element of being micromanaged. Now, even if you weren't around a Virgo specifically, that Virgoan energy of micromanagement and high critique that seemed to be surrounding you put you into a place where you did not understand the extent of your own power. You did not understand just how fundamentally important you were to the process, because you were always told that what you did wasn't enough, what you were wasn't enough. And and Sag, it breaks my heart to say most of you believed it for the longest time, without realizing that this energy that was projecting onto you was exactly that. It was a projection. It was an expression of somebody else's inadequacies, of trying to pull you down just a little bit. You know, if you got to put it like this, you're a fucking mythical creature, and somebody threw a fucking chain around your ankle. You're magic as fuck. And if you understood how magic you were, you would not have stayed in that situation. It benefited the other person, the situation, for you to be kind of cantering along at a low level, thinking that that was all you were capable of doing, because then you didn't try and go anywhere else. And that's an uncomfortable fact to come to terms with. And Sag, I think that that's part of what you're trying to come to terms with now. And that which you experience there is so ingrained in you that sometimes, right, when you get a sniff of your own power, you're like, yeah, fuck, I don't know what to do with that. And you run away from it, right? The self-sabotage kicks in really, really hard. But the reason why you are in this energy at the moment is this. It's the Hangman. Like, you are being made to feel uncomfortable, because in the discomfort is the growth, right? All the tools you need to grow are in the places you don't want to look. And this is it. Now, some of you have been slowing down dramatically, and this is interesting because this is what I'm talking about the this kind of other place that a lot of the signs have been occupying, right? The way that we usually show up is markedly different at the moment. And for you, I've spoken at length about how Sagittarians zoom. They do everything fast, they do everything very efficiently, right? Always take the most efficient path to whatever it is, when they have a goal in mind. And when they don't have a goal in mind, then they just kind of meander, they explore, you know. But they do it very fast. And you've been slowing down and slowing down and slowing down and not knowing why. This, for a Sagittarian, is being put into a place of extreme discomfort. And the message is to learn to lean into that, because you are accruing wisdom at a rate of knots. You know, where you've lost the speed outside of yourself, Sagittarius, the speed is increasing inside of yourself. And so there's all this fucking like running around inside, like, whoa, fuck, what's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? You know, what you must be careful to avoid is that incredible ability that you have to exercise creative destruction, your own destruction creatively, right? Avoid that. But no matter how uncomfortable you feel at the moment, and I do feel for most of you, it is kind of like, I'm pretty fucking uncomfortable right now. Know that you are, well, not only are you developing a new skill, not only are you touching on things that you have avoided for a very long time, and that's good, because observation is processing, right? You can't process and release something if you don't go and see what that thing is, right? If you're studiously avoiding it all the time, then that's not going to work. But there's something really incredibly positive that is going to come out of this for you. And that thing might just be the understanding that you can do this work, you can go within, you can slow down, and you're not going to get bitten on the arse by anything, right? We've got those two Leo cards, in fact, of the Six of Wands and the Sun there. Like, not only can you do this, you're actually really rather good at it, Sag. And so as the confusion subsides, and the confusion is because this is just so new to you, you know, and you can sit with your subconscious or your higher self or whatever it is that's bringing the information through to you and go, okay, I'm going to sit here like an emperor, I'm going to wait for this information to drop, and then I'm going to work out what I'm going to do with it, right? The wisdom that you're accruing at this point, where you are deeply uncomfortable, is absolutely essential to your acceptance of the joy that comes next, or even maybe just your acceptance of joy altogether, because Saji, like this feeling of just loitering around the door, being like, I'm going to get my marching orders soon, I'm going to have to fuck off. Like that's self-sabotage. And it feels like you're eradicating that out of your system. It's uncomfortable because it makes you vulnerable. And every single, aspect of the way that you operate is all coming back to that restricted devil balancing on top of a heart. For a lot of you, you've been told your entire lives that you were thoughtless. You didn't care. You were very good at showing people that you cared. Yeah? that maybe you were completely selfish and you were reckless and all of these things. And all of these messages that have come from people perhaps have led you to not only think that they are right, but maybe question whether you had a heart at all. And what this is showing you is that you do, and it's big, it's full of fire, when it's allowed to express itself. And it hasn't been allowed to express itself for a long time. And Sagittarius, you have been the one latterly that has been stopping it. I'm just looking at this card here, this incredibly positive card, and do you know what I'm staring at? The red flag. This is a bit too much like happiness. There's a big fucking red flag. I'm gonna have to shunt away from this. It is teaching you that your personal happiness, contentment, peace in yourself is not a red flag. It doesn't mean that you've let your guard drop too much. It doesn't mean that you've become complacent. It means that you've found a situation in which you can be yourself without fear of attack, without fear of criticism. Because you're sensitive souls, and that is missed so very fucking often. It winds me up. This lazy characterization of signs. Alright, let's get you some cards of advice. Can I have some cards of advice, please? Oh, thank you. High Priestess. Queen of Cups. Yeah. Queen of Wands, Three of Wands. Wow. I mean, that couldn't be more clear if we tried Sagittarius, right? We've got these two very strong presentations of watery feminine energy there. The High Priestess is the card of Pisces. It is that deep feminine wisdom that actually resides within you. Right? You're an extremely intuitive sign. However, you've built up this wall, right? And it's actually a wonder that you are so intuitive when you've built such a wall around your own emotions, right? This is the thing that's coming down. But you are being highly guided at this point, right? Your intuition is absolutely off the chart. And maybe it is that some of you, I know, did I not do a reading for you that was called Spiritual Awakening fairly recently? Like, the sort of information that is coming down into you now through spiritual downloads is kind of like, it's all designed to complement the wisdom that is coming through this activity here. Both of these are very passive cards. Passivity is not something that is associated with Sagittarius, but you've got to lean into the discomfort sometimes to find the answers that are there for you. And sometimes that means doing things very fucking differently. And that is what you're doing here. So paying attention to your emotions is really, really important. But paying also attention to the way in which you allow other people to express their emotions to you, right? The Queen of Cups is water of water. You don't get any more receptive than that. And these two women are staring directly at each other. Like, this is where you are now, Sagittarius. And it could be that the High Priestess is looking very clearly here at the Queen of Cups, going, let's see how Sag deals with people expressing emotion to them. Do they pay any attention to it, or does it get immediately filed away somewhere else, not to be looked at? You know? how can I, High Priestess now, how can I help Sagittarius be more of a Queen of Cups? And how can I help Sagittarius inform my behavior moving forwards, or allow the wisdom that I am holding as the High Priestess inform my behavior moving forwards? Queen of Wands is Aries energy, but it is again receptive fire, right? This is very important for you. It's receptive fire, but she's between those two cards. 1, 2, 3, 4 wands. We're back to home again. How can you actively participate in this notion of home as it is appearing to you, whether that is through partner, friends, family, you know, whatever it is? Where are you being asked to look at a situation differently, right? It's right here. You are being asked to look at this now. But how can you engage differently with this now and feel confident that you're not going to have you're not going to get kneecapped by it. You're not going to be having someone come over and shove your devil right off that heart. You know, where do you become the apple tree instead? Capable of holding so much abundance within you that you kind of know that you have access to, but you're frightened that you don't, you know? Big couple of weeks for you, Sag. Big couple of weeks. Right, I'm going to leave it there. Know that I love you all very, very much. And I'll see you soon.